going to just talk you through the 5 stages of grief. So these stages were set out in the 60s by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. And like I said, there are 5 stages. There is no set order that people move through them in, and you can move back and forth between the stages. So just when you think you've completed a stage, you can move right back again. So it's not a linear process, it's not a cycle. They are 5 different stages that people generally move through in some order when they're going through a grief process. So the first is denial. So this is generally where we start. It's our natural defense mechanism against loss. It's too much for us to feel all the feelings that we feel around grief. So what we do is go into a state of denial. The loss is not real. It's not permanent. Perhaps the lab mixed up your test results. Perhaps they've identified the wrong person. Perhaps you're going to get back together with your partner, or you're going to be able to appeal your redundancy. So the loss is not permanent, it's not fixed, it's not happening. So you're living in a different reality state. You're not living in the real world. You're living in a preferable reality where the loss hasn't happened. And this actually aids our healing. So it helps us to stagger our feelings. It helps us to not become overwhelmed. And it's only after this stage has passed that the healing truly begins, when those feelings that we've been suppressing start to come to the surface for us to work through. And then we have anger. So once you start moving out of your preferable reality and back into reality, you're going to start to feel perhaps angry about what's happened, angry about the loss, angry at yourself, angry at others, perhaps angry at the doctors, angry that somebody didn't stop this, just angry at the world that this has happened to you. Why me? This isn't fair. It's a really difficult stage, and it can feel really difficult for the people around you, because often your anger can be directed towards your friends and family. You can feel quite difficult to be around, but it's actually a really necessary and natural step of the process. So when we start to really acknowledge and realise that a loss has occurred, that something or somebody has gone, that our life has changed, we can start almost to kind of disassociate or disconnect from our lives. And anger actually can be that thing that brings us back to it, that connects us back to our lives, back to people again. It's something to focus on. Often we can be on a bit of a mission trying to find out what's happened or fix the injustice, and actually that can help bind us back to our realities. So usually people tell us to try and control our anger. They will discourage anger, but actually anger in terms of a grief cycle is very much to be encouraged. It's really a natural and it's really a necessary part of the healing process. So bargaining is that pleading for something to be different. I don't know if you've ever found yourselves absolutely pleading with the world or with God or with some higher power to please make this not be happening. You might find yourselves, I'll be the best person that I'll be. I'll never complain again. I'll make sure that I do this or I do that. If you please just bring them back, or please just stop this from happening. So it's that pleading for it to be different. In essence, this stage is false hope. We are falsely hoping that we can change the outcome of this situation. We're trying to give ourselves some power in it. Quite often, loss is out of our control. And what we like to think is, well, if I do this thing, then will you give me this thing? We're trying to give ourselves some power. Often hand in hand with this stage comes guilt. So those kind of what if statements. What if I'd left the house 5 minutes earlier? Maybe there wouldn't have been an accident. What if I'd made them go to the doctors 6 months ago? What if I'd made an effort to be home from work each night on time? Maybe we wouldn't have gotten into so many arguments. So really trying to take it upon yourself to change the outcome of this situation, and just pleading for it to be different. And then there's the depression stage. So this is probably the most commonly associated stage with grief. And this essentially is the emptiness that we feel when we realise that the person or the situation is gone forever. And we start essentially to withdraw from life. So we don't want to speak to anybody. We don't want to see anybody. We don't want to get out of bed. We feel like nobody gets it. And you might even experience some suicidal thoughts at this stage. What's the point of going on? It's that real empty, lonely, I don't want to live through this stage feeling. And this again is a really, really necessary one. This is the acknowledging how much it hurts that the thing has gone. And what's considered the last stage is acceptance. So this isn't saying that you are happy about what's happened. It's about saying you've lost something or you've lost someone and you're going to be okay. So it's reconnecting with the world, reconnecting with your life, but accepting that it's going to be different than before the loss occurred. You're not getting back to the way that things were before. You're moving forward into a new way of being and a new life without that thing or that person. So you're still going to have some difficult days here. You're going to have some good days, some bad days, and then some good days again. But the point is that at this stage, the good days will hopefully start to outweigh the bad days. So this is about starting to reconnect with the world, reconnecting with friends and family, feeling like you want to start doing more, basically building a new life for yourself.